She is not the supreme leader. She holds no official military title. But every general in Pyongyang listens when she speaks. And when Kim Yo-jong issued her warning to US and South Korean forces conducting live fire drills on the peninsula, the world paid attention. What happened next was not what she expected. Korean Peninsula. March 2025, Freedom Shield exercise. The largest US-South Korea combined military drills in 5 years, 17 days. Live fire ranges active across the peninsula. B-1B Lancer strategic bombers flying from Guam from 35A and F-35B fighters from 3 separate bases. USS Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group operating in the Yellow Sea, THAAD batteries at full operational readiness. And on the ground, a combined force of American and South Korean troops running scenarios that are not hypothetical. They are rehearsals. Kim Yo-jong watches all of it from Pyongyang. And she does what she always does when she wants the world to listen. She issues a statement. The language is specific. The United States and South Korea are pushing the situation to the edge of explosion. If they continue these provocative drills, the Korean Peninsula will face unimaginable catastrophe. The North will be forced to take the most overwhelming response in its history. In North Korean diplomatic language, this is not a warning. This is a threat with military intent behind it. Every intelligence agency on the peninsula begins monitoring Pyongyang's missile sites within the hour. Now let us understand who Kim Yo-jong actually is. Because the Western media often describes her as Kim Jong Un's sister as if that is the extent of her role. It is not. She is the director of the propaganda and agitation department of the Korean Workers' Party. She controls the narrative inside North Korea completely. Nothing is published, broadcast, or distributed inside the country without her approval. She is also widely believed to be the second most powerful person in North Korea, and some analysts place her above her brother on certain decisions. When she speaks about military matters, it is not speculation, it is policy. Her statement about the drills is not posturing for domestic consumption. It is a direct signal to Washington and Seoul: push back or face consequences. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command response comes within 6 hours, not a diplomatic statement. Not a press release, an action. 2 B-1B Lancer strategic bombers launch from Andersen Air Force Base in Guam. They fly directly to the Korean Peninsula. They enter South Korean airspace and conduct a low-altitude supersonic pass over the joint live fire range where US and South Korean troops are actively training. The sonic boom from 2 B-1Bs at low altitude is not subtle, it rattles windows. It shakes vehicles, it is felt physically before it is heard. And it is designed to be felt in Pyongyang as much as on the training range. Let us talk about what the B-1B Lancer actually is. Because its presence over the Korean Peninsula carries a very specific message. The B-1B entered service in 1986. It is not a stealth aircraft. It is not trying to hide. It is a supersonic variable sweep wing bomber capable of carrying more conventional ordnance than any other aircraft in the US inventory. Up to 75,000 pounds of precision-guided weapons. JDM bombs, JASSM cruise missiles with a range of over 600 miles. Anti-ship missiles, mines. A single B-1B can carry 24 JASSM cruise missiles internally. Each missile is stealthy, terrain-following, and accurate to within meters at ranges that keep the launch aircraft outside North Korea's air defense envelope. 2 B-1Bs, carrying 48 cruise missiles between them, can strike 48 separate targets simultaneously from outside North Korean airspace. When North Korea sees B-1Bs over the peninsula, it is not seeing an aircraft. It is seeing a targeting decision already made and not yet executed. The day after the B-1B pass, the joint exercise escalates. Not in response to Kim Yo-jong's statement directly. That is the official position. The exercise was always scheduled to include this phase. But the timing is not accidental and everyone involved knows it. USS Theodore Roosevelt moves from the Yellow Sea into a position 200 miles east of the peninsula in the Sea of Japan. The carrier's air wing begins conducting simulated strike missions toward the peninsula. F-35CS flying at operational altitudes. Electronic warfare aircraft jamming frequencies that North Korean radar operates on. The entire electromagnetic environment around the peninsula is being shaped by American systems simultaneously. North Korean radar operators are seeing a degraded picture, not blind but working harder than normal. That is intentional. Meanwhile, on the ground, the exercises reach their peak phase. 8 HIMARS multiple rocket launch systems firing simultaneously. Each HIMARS can launch 6 GPS-guided rockets to a range of 45 miles with accuracy measured in meters. The rockets visible from the North Korean side of the DMZ, the impact flashes visible from observation posts along the border. North Korean soldiers watching through binoculars are seeing what a coordinated American and South Korean precision strike looks like in practice. 8 HIMARS, 48 rockets. 48 simultaneous precision impacts. In a real scenario, those 48 targets would be North Korean artillery batteries, command posts and air defense systems along the DMZ? The North Korean commanders watching the exercise understand exactly what they are seeing. A rehearsal for their destruction. Kim Yo-jong issues a second statement. This one is different in tone, less specific threat language. More focused on the accusation that the drills are destabilizing the region. In North Korean communication patterns, this shift is significant. The first statement was a warning. The second statement is a de-escalation wrapped in anger. She is stepping back without appearing to step back. But Pyongyang cannot leave it there without some kind of visible response. The regime needs to show its domestic audience that the threats were not empty. North Korea launches 2 short-range ballistic missiles, fired from the eastern coast, into the sea. They travel approximately 300 miles before splashing down in the water east of the peninsula. No threat to South Korea, no threat to Japan. At demonstration launch, we have missiles. We are not afraid, we respond. The US and South Korean response to the missile launch is immediate. That battery at Seongju activates. The Terminal High-Altitude Area Defense System tracks both missiles from launch. The radar picture is clean. The flight trajectories are calculated within seconds of launch. Neither missile is on a trajectory threatening South Korean territory. Teche does not fire, but it could have. That fact is noted in every military briefing that follows. Let us talk about that for a moment. Because its presence on the Korean peninsula is one of the most significant military capabilities in the region and one of the most misunderstood. THAAD is not an offensive system. It cannot attack North Korea. It cannot threaten China. It does one thing only. It intercepts ballistic missiles in their terminal descent phase. The THAAD interceptor is a kinetic kill vehicle. It does not carry an explosive warhead. It destroys incoming missiles by hitting them, directly, at combined closing speeds of several kilometers per second. Its radar, the ON-TPY-2, can track a baseball-sized object at 2,000 kilometers range. It can simultaneously track hundreds of objects and discriminate between warheads and decoys. Against North Korea's current missile inventory, THAAD represents a genuine and significant defensive capability. The 2 missiles North Korea launched that day were tracked perfectly from launch to splashdown. If either had been aimed at Seoul or at US military installations, the intercept would have been automatic. North Korea knows this. It is why their statements focus on THAAD removal as much as drill cessation. THAAD makes their missile threat less credible, and a less credible missile threat reduces their leverage with everyone. 3 days after the missile launches, the Freedom Shield exercise reaches its final phase, a combined US and South Korean special operations raid scenario. The target in the exercise is a simulated North Korean command bunker. US Delta Force operators and South Korean Special Forces Unit 707 working together. CH-47 Chinook helicopters inserting teams at night. M-60 Blackhawks providing close support. AC-130 gunships orbiting above. The entire operation is conducted within 15 kilometers of the DMZ. The North Koreans watching from across the border see the helicopters. They see the exercise unfolding in real time. They understand exactly what capability is being rehearsed. The ability to go after North Korean leadership directly, in their bunkers, at night. Kim Yo-jong does not issue a third statement. The silence is itself a statement. She has made her warnings. The United States and South Korea have responded not with words but with B-1BS. THAAD activation, carrier operations, and special forces exercises within sight of the DMZ. The calculation in Pyongyang is straightforward. Further escalation of statements requires further demonstrations of capability in response. Each demonstration reveals more about North Korean capabilities and limitations than it reveals about American ones. The asymmetry of that exchange does not favor Pyongyang. Here is the harder strategic reality that Kim Yo-jong understands better than anyone. North Korea's nuclear deterrent is real. Their ICBM program has achieved genuine intercontinental range. The Hwasong-17 tested in 2022 demonstrated a trajectory consistent with a range exceeding 15,000 kilometers, enough to reach any city in the continental United States. Their miniaturization program for nuclear warheads is assessed by most Western intelligence agencies as more advanced than publicly acknowledged. This deterrent is why the United States does not strike North Korea, not capability, deterrence, but deterrence has limits. And Kim Yo-jong's challenge to the Freedom Shield exercise revealed one of those limits clearly. The drills continued. They escalated, the B-1BS came, the carrier moved, that activated, and North Korea launched 2 short-range missiles into open ocean and then went quiet. The nuclear deterrent prevents American first strikes against North Korea. It does not give North Korea the ability to dictate what the United States and South Korea do in South Korean territory and international waters. That distinction is the line Kim Yo-jong tried to move. She found it does not move. The Freedom Shield exercise ends on schedule, 17 days. Every phase completed. Every objective met. The B-1BS returned to Guam, the Theodore Roosevelt moved south, the HIMARS batteries returned to their bases. And on the North Korean side of the DMZ, soldiers who watched the entire exercise through binoculars file back to their barracks. Kim Yo-jong issues no further statements about the drills. The silence from Pyongyang is the loudest thing she has said. Stay locked in.